All right, guys, we are back for our second rewatch now. This is the rewatch that I was really excited for right here. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has arrived on Disney Plus, and man, it was exactly what I wanted. Like, I loved it. I
Yes,
loved it.
episode one premiered, and I, you know, I feel like I sound like a broken record at
Mhm.
this point. But I don't really get down with like the street level characters too often. I
Neither
prefer more
time.
of the superhero characters. Somebody got to be flying and shooting shit and energy beams and all of that. But I like had a great time with this. The action scenes in this were insane. Like
It was great. It was really, really good.
Marvel, if you're listening, I need Carol to be flying the way
Like
Falcon was
this,
flying in this.
he was giving. He was really giving.
Okay,
Like,
I need her to be zipping and flying through the way that he was doing all of this because wow, I thought he was flying for real.
like the first like good 10 minutes of action that we got with him, or maybe like 15, I don't even know. Like, I was just so enthralled by it. Time like completely stopped. It was an illusion. But just seeing him like going through against the guys and like going into the through the helicopter, like when he had the missile redirect towards it. At first, he was killing people. Okay, like
Yeah.
he was cutting them down.
This is violent.
Like, I was
Uh,
living,
it is
living.
as much as it's supposed to be like a Disney show, and people trying
Hmm.
to say like, oh, MCU shows have this like formula with them. I think that this is just another example of it's not like
Yeah,
that at all.
at all.
This is very like some adult content because he definitely that missile blew up and those people definitely died.
Oh, all of
you
them
know,
blown to bits.
definitely murdered people in this. That entire flight sequence just looked
It was.
insane, and it's really cool to see like his kind of his growth with his wings or whatever, and how
Yeah,
he did it.
you
Because I
can
feel
tell he's a lot more comfortable.
yeah, like when he was in Winter Soldier, it was just he would know how to fly him up and down, know how to like turn it off at the right time to like do
Mhm.
something and catch something or whatever, but he wasn't doing all of this.
No, he was
This,
like he in Winter Soldier and like other Avengers films. He was coming down, flying, kicking you in your face. Great, but it was like very basic. Here, he was giving you agility. He was giving you like
yeah.
it was giving combo like wings in, like wings in, feet kicking, wings back out, using them to block, doing it. And again, I appreciate the tech upgrade of the wings as well. Very well done.
Yeah.
Very nice to see the Red Wing tech. Fantastic.
I
Love
was
seeing
happy
that.
about that because, as listeners may know, as I already know, Falcon is like a top 10 character for you. So,
Yeah.
did you like the change of what they did with Red Wing? Making it more of a tech thing than him.
So I don't mind it. I don't mind the tech Red Wing. However, I would still appreciate if we actually got a real bird. Or
Okay.
like we drew some type of connection to birds for him. I think that would just be a nice touch. But for what MCU is and like what Sam's role is in it, and like how he is like military the entire time, like him having the tech thing is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted that. I think Red Wing is cool. Like I like the upgrade
It's
to
great.
it. Um, because I could see how people would not get the whole like communicating with a bird thing or whatever. So this was like a cool way to still have Red Wing a part of
Yeah.
the canon.
Really appreciated that. Also love the addition of Agent Torres, the young man who plays. So in the comics, there's a character. So when Sam became Captain America in the comics, he got
Okay.
his own Falcon sidekick.
Oh, okay.
That Falcon, his name was Joaquin Torres.
Well, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
like as soon as so like when he first came on the scene, like he was there, they were I was like, did they say his name was Torres? Because I had missed it. I was like, they say his name was Torres, and then like later on when he said it again, I was like, oh wow, that's him. And I just thought that was like super interesting for the fact that Sam has his own like supporting cast. Like he
Yeah.
actually has those characters you can like throw in and mix with him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, he's like a real character. Like he's like a real like he's got the stuff, he's got the juice. So that was like
That's
super
dope.
exciting to see for me. And then just like the implication that if we have a Torres, then we can have a next Falcon, which means that Sam is probably going to become Captain America, which
Well,
is
yeah.
like
Yeah.
what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's going to be really interesting to see that growth, and then you'll get the growth of not only him becoming Captain America, but now stepping into like a mentor role
Yeah.
to someone else, which is like again but that's just future. Like it's exciting to see.
I didn't think they were pulling from the comics like that. I thought that this was just some
random
like
guy.
boy, yes. He just looked like, oh, he gave me the vibe of, oh, this is the cute like guy who I don't know what I'm doing. I'm probably gonna fumble a lot, but then I'm gonna learn a lot from
Yeah.
Captain America from Sam Wilson. I didn't know
And
that.
then he'll be Falcon one day.
I didn't know that was from the comics. That's cool.
It will be interesting to see. So like Torres in the comics, he kind of goes through like a mutation where he actually like merges with Red Wing a little bit, and so he like gets bird-like avian features. I wonder if they'll kind of move forward with that or just keep him as a human, because they don't really do a lot of the animal characters in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah. What if they have him join like this Young Avengers thing that they're trying to build?
I can see that because he never joined the Young Avengers in the comic, but he was a champion.
Oh.
So he's got like some roots there. They could put him, and so that was really interesting to see. I really loved the emotional bits with Sam and his sister, and like just kind of dealing with the family. Again, that wasn't something that we got a lot of with Sam in the Avengers movies, and he was an ancillary character, so you wouldn't really expect it to. But here we can really get to that. And Sam actually has like a lot of these family members in the comic books. He has a sister who has kids. He has a brother. He is very close with them. And I thought it was like just great. Yeah, we're gonna get you caught up on some Falcon, some Sam Wilson comic books. I think that's gonna be our 2021 goal. Okay. And so to kind of like see them coming into play and like really getting into that aspect of Sam's family was great, and I think it was needed for him. I feel like a lot of people were saying this episode was kind of a slow burn. I don't necessarily know if I would call it a slow burn. I would say that it is a deep dive into like these characters' mindsets and like where they are, and I think it feels very grounded, and I think it feels very real, and I think it's going to be that much more satisfying when they like finally do, when we get to the end of this and they've like hit that next level. And I also really love the like human aspect of it, of seeing a person who's dealing with life after the blip. You know what I'm saying? Like those 5 years, it's like, again, everyone else had to live, or even if you weren't there, it's like, okay, now I'm here, and it's like I'm trying to do these things and like get houses, and like how that affects your loans. And then again, we're giving nods to like marginalized groups.
Capitalism always fucking wins.
It's a disease.
How did the world change that drastically? And people decided to still keep going forward with capitalism and banking, to the point where when people come back after being gone for 5 years, they say, oh, well, you don't have any work history or any income history. Baby, I've been gone. Like,
who does?
How do you?
Who does? Like, what were you doing? Were you here for 5 years? Like, come on now. So like I really appreciated that, and I really love that like grounded take on it. And again, like it just amplifies the fact that these are Black people, so it's like it's once again another hurdle that they have to step over. And I really like that Sarah was kind of calling those little tidbits out when the Lone Maker was saying that. She's like, oh, for what type of people? You know what I'm saying? And it's like even Sam, it doesn't really, he's not a person who gets to miss it, because of the simple fact, just because he's an Avenger, a famous guy. You see the lone officer, he's kind of like fangirling over Sam. He's like, oh, you're Falcon, let's take some selfies and do this and that. And then he's still like, well, no, you're broke.
Right.
it's just like,
I appreciated that part a lot in this. Yeah. It felt very true to the comics, because how often do you read like a solo series for a character and it's like, oh, I just saw you like save the world in the Avengers book, but in your solo comic, you just like go back to your 1-bedroom apartment that like you don't even got
Spider-Man. that is one thing I will always say I've really appreciated about Spider-Man. It's like the very constant reminder that he is broke and struggling. Yes. And he's like, I need money. Like just like everybody else out here. He's like, please give me money. Like, yes, absolutely.
Right. I like that is like that they put that in there, because they aren't like they're superheroes. They're doing it because it's a good thing for them to do. They're not salaried or paid by anybody.
It's like,
You
no,
know,
they need a job, just like everybody else.
only gives them housing. When he can. That's about
When
it.
he wants to. Um, I really liked, and I know you're kind of like a Winter Soldier fan. You teeter on that border.
Yeah.
I really loved all the stuff that they were doing with Bucky and like seeing him in therapy and like
Yes.
dealing with the trauma.
Therapy. Yes.
Come on, therapy. And I love how like the therapist was like dragging him the entire time because that is very much what therapy is. It's
Yeah.
like your therapist is not a nice person.
You're there to talk about this stuff and not avoid it. And like I feel like some people's therapy sessions do go. She's sitting there asking him, have you ever had a nightmare? And or did you have a nightmare recently? He's like, no.
And it's like maybe you just had one. Like, come on.
Just saw you.
And it was good. Like again, and that was another example of like great action of like just Bucky kind of like coming in there and like through that nightmare when he was killing that guy. Great moments. I love the kind of.
I was like, damn, he throwing these knives and shit. I was like, oh my god.
I was living. I was like, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
I love the aspect of like him being friends with the older gentleman and like him, the older guy, kind of like helping him reacclimate to life and being like.
That was cute.
Yeah, it was like a really nice little moment that they had. I love the reference to Wakanda that he made. He was like, that's when I was at peace. When I was
he was over there in Wakanda getting his hair braided.
when I was chilling in paradise. Like, I wasn't worried about y'all. And then y'all brought me a gun, and now my life is going to hell again.
Right.
So it was really nice to kind of see that and dig deep into that. I also appreciated the fact that, like, Sam has been calling him. Even if he's just been ignoring it, it's like I really like that relationship is building. They're fun guys to get.
I feel like that relationship has been very recent, as far as they're like. Again, I don't know because I don't really read it, but I feel like that their relationship, as far as them being like bromance, like we're friends, but like one of them finds the other one annoying, but they secretly like to be friends with each other. I feel like that's been more recent.
Yeah, that's extremely recent. So their relationship, it's always been like a thing. They've been around each other, but they've never been super close. But when Steve died the first time and Bucky became Captain America, Sam actually came in to help him. And it wasn't like he was still doing his own hero thing. And it wasn't like he wasn't coming in to be like, I'm here to be the Falcon for you. He was like, you're coming in to be like my Captain America. Like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. And like, so you can actually live up to the name that you've now taken. So that was a really nice moment. It's like you said, the whole like bromance, oh, you're annoying, but I find you kind of, that's fairly new. Bucky's always respected Sam, though, especially during the Brubaker run of Captain America.
Yeah.
There's one issue where they're fighting together, and Bucky like is monologuing to himself while watching Sam fight, and he says how they're different, but in a good way. He's like, Falcon's always been his own man. He's like, but there's something about him that's very similar to Steve, where he's inspiring, just inspiring in a completely different way. And it's like really great to see. So I enjoy that relationship a lot.
Yeah, I always wondered how that was like depicted in the comics, because I felt like it was way more MCU inspired recently than it has been in the past.
The recent miniseries they just had together was definitely very heavily MCU inspired for their relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily like it that way. I mean, I guess you could say it's grown to that in the comics because, like I said, they have been working together. But I kind of prefer what it was before. Like, Sam looks at Bucky very much as a little brother.
Okay.
Because it's like Steve is his friend. Like Steve is the one who he should have the bromance with and all that stuff and all that.
Right.
And like he looks at Bucky as like, oh, you're my best friend's little brother.
Yeah, I feel like they both have relationship with Steve where it's like that is actually my friend. Where it's a thing of like we should probably have been friends because we both best friends with this one person. But we wouldn't like that.
So that's been fun. I loved a lot. I could just go on for days about what I loved about it.
Okay, so how did you feel about the Flag Smashers and like do you feel like it's like an upgrade to what is in the comics, or do you feel like it's kind of the same?
I feel like it's kind of the same. So I feel like the Flag Smashers were
I don't know anything about the damn Flag Smashers. Aren't they supposed to be like a group, or was it a character?
A little bit of both.
Okay. I don't know.
Um,
I have no
but
idea.
like I always just kind of look at the Flag Smashers as just like amped up watchdogs. So
Okay.
it's just like they kind of all fall into the same thing. I enjoyed what they did here and
Yeah.
like the method. I thought it was interesting the way they like weaved them in. The guy who was like walking through, kicking people, that was really well done.
I
Uh,
thought it was really cool the way that they upgraded the communication that they have with each other because I feel like the the idea of this kind of terrorist group who's like organizing together and they're kind of like,
mhm,
against the establishment or something, that isn't a new concept. But the
yeah.
idea that they were how they use their phones to like, scan the stuff and that's how they get
Hmm.
information, I thought that was a pretty cool and updated way to like have that trope anyway,
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Very dope. I'm excited to see more of the Flag Smashers and how they do. I'm interested to know if it's going to be more of Torres's storyline or if like Sam will also get a little bit more involved in it too. Like if this is kind of the thing that like bumps Torres up to be like, oh okay, yeah, like I also want to be a hero.
Mm, that would be very interesting. I wonder if Torres will end up getting any kind of like bigger role on this. Um,
I hope so.
it was interesting in the beginning of this when Sam is giving that speech about Captain America, this really cool
Hmm.
speech of how he is, and he's but this shield doesn't belong to me. He gave it to the Smithsonian. And it felt like you could tell from the way that he was giving the speech that it wasn't a decision he fully like had his heart behind. Like,
Hmm.
I'm doing this because I feel like this is what everybody wants me to do, or that I
Hmm.
have pressure from somebody to do it. And then afterwards, he meets with that guy. I think he was from the UN or something like
Yeah,
that, and that government guy. And he was like, you
you're
did the
doing
right
the right thing.
you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I caught that too. I was ready to hit somebody.
Yeah. And I did appreciate that they had a conversation between the two black characters on the team.
That
You know
was
what
really well done. And so that part, not sorry to cut you off, but like that
And the two
particular
characters
part really
being
hit me.
Falcon and War Machine.
War Machine. That part was really nice for me, especially because during the Nick Spencer run when Sam was Captain America, Civil War II happened during that era, and Rhodey died in
Yes.
Civil War II. And so the funeral of Rhodey like happened in the Captain America issue. And it was like all the black heroes together. It was like Sam, Misty Knight, Storm was there, Luke Cage, Nick Fury Jr., Doctor Voodoo, and they're like all talking about War Machine and like just being the black hero. And like Sam eventually has to be the one to give the eulogy about Rhodey, and he kind of like has this moment talking about like how him and Rhodey weren't always very close, but they like understood each other. You remember how you felt after that other history issue with Black Lightning and John Stewart?
Yeah.
It was kind of that kind of moment for them, except for
Okay.
one was dead. But it was it was kind of like building on their relationship like that. It's like, hey, we were always these two like black heroes who were around. We understood each other. We knew what it was about. We knew what was going on. So I was like, I really liked that kind of friendship or relationship was cemented in this episode.
Yeah. I really appreciated them having specifically those two characters get and have a conversation about like taking up the shield and War Machine being like, why? Come on, do you really need me to even ask
Tell
you what I
you,
want to ask you?
yeah,
Why the hell you didn't take it up? I appreciate that they actually had that because that conversation was probably one any character could have had, but it was best that it came from another black character. So I appreciate that.
absolutely.
Um, I loved the way that they were going to present like racial stuff in this because it
Hmm.
feels like the way that WandaVision kind of dealt with grief. I kind of had a feeling that this one was going to have to deal with race. Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't have U.S. agent and like not not
Okay.
do this, you know. And when they were at their place or whatever, watching on TV of the U.S. agent getting the shield, and the look on Falcon's face was like, I know these motherfuckers can't. They got to be playing in
Hmm.
my
It's
face.
that little
Wow,
scene
you
where
can
he
you
like
feel it.
you feel the tension and like and so
Hmm.
I have a rocky relationship with Anthony Mackie, like we all know that. But like I was really impressed with a lot of what he did here. in this episode, and just like what he brought to Sam, and just like you were saying, that moment where he was just watching that on TV, like you felt it, like you felt the rage, like you were mad too.
Yes.
It was so
Yeah.
many people who were like, I'm ready to like punch U.S. agent in the face myself. And especially again, like you mentioned, the government guy was the one who made the comment to him saying, "You're doing the right thing." After Sam just gave the speech about like how no one should be Captain America but Steve,
Yeah, it's like
and here
nobody.
he is in this like, oh no, we definitely need a Captain America. We definitely need a hero. It just wasn't you. You know, that was great. And it was also really good in the sense of with his sister Sarah, like how she was kind of like in the background of that scene. It's like she wasn't even watching TV. Like she was watching Sam. Because she just knew, like you felt like, damn, this was good.
I felt for it. Yeah, I was like, I know, because like I feel like, man, we've all been there. Where I've been there, where I'm like, I know they not finna get us to this white man. I know they not. I have definitely been there where I have like worked my ass off on something, and they have definitely passed over my work and given it over to some white man because he was white. And
that's just it.
That's just the end of it, and you just have to deal with it.
And like, keep going about your day and get denied for loans.
And if you call it out, then you the one that look bad. Or they were trying to say that you were the one that looks bad. And I will say shout out to them for their U.S. agent casting, because they found the whitest white boy.
Okay. And it's a shame because I actually like that actor a lot. He's done like some stuff that I really enjoy. So it's like I'm mad that I'm gonna have to hate you this go round.
Does he play like those characters often? I don't think I've ever
No,
seen
honestly. He plays like a lot of like kind of, I guess, like gruffer characters that I've seen. He was in this movie called Overlord. Amazing movie. I highly recommend it to anybody. He was like the general sergeant. He's gonna do a great job as U.S. agent. I can say that for sure. Like I'm excited to hate him.
Yeah, I hope people realize that that's the point of U.S. agent. Like you're supposed to hate him.
Look, he's not like a good guy.
Yeah. I'm excited for like where this goes. I realize that people may not like it as much as WandaVision. I feel like the gays ain't gonna go up for it because there's no like femme fatale for them to latch on to.
There's no witch.
No witch. No magic. But like still I think that because of the structure of WandaVision and because of the way that it like works with the mystery behind it and like what's going on in this woman's head, like what is real and what's not, that ends up being a little bit more enticing for people to kind of tune into versus a show that's way more straightforward, I guess you could say. But I think that it's just as good. It's just different.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this is like something that you kind of expect with like an action series. We've talked about this when I spoke about Hellions, the comic book, and how I felt as though like it's a good comic book, but it feels like an action movie. You kind of know what's going to happen. You kind of expect it. It's telegraphed. However, the story itself is still enjoyable because of like the interactions that you're getting. That's what I feel about Falcon and Winter Soldier. It is fully an action series type of thing, and it's like you know what you're kind of going to get. You know what to expect a little bit. It's going to follow a lot of the similar tropes that we know, but the character interactions that we get throughout it are going to make it that much more worth it.
Yeah. I really am starting to like the whole Disney Plus thing because it feels it feels more like episodic for this stuff, which relates to the comics.
Oh, you mean just for these shows? Okay,
these shows,
I thought you meant Disney Plus as a whole.
Oh no, I won't go that far. I meant although I don't know. I watch a lot of Disney Plus, but I think that's just because that's where all the superhero content is. Like, but I feel like the Disney Plus shows so far for the MCU have been great because that like episodic feel and like really letting these characters like grow and show who they are. Characters who I don't think would have been marquee movie characters, I'm not sure how well a Scarlet Witch movie would be compared to the WandaVision show. And the same thing with a Falcon movie versus a Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
So
I like this. I like with this progress that we kind of get with these characters.
I also like that they kind of like let them do what they want. It's like how in terms of story structure and like so you get 9 episodes in WandaVision, but we're getting 6 episodes for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's like there were 30-minute episodes in the first half of WandaVision, but like this first episode was 50 minutes, and
Yeah.
so it's kind of like they're just running to their own beat, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I want these to be great. I mean, obviously, I'm never
Yeah.
gonna want any kind of superhero thing to be bad. So I appreciate that they are putting a lot of effort into this, and it seems like they have the core of these characters right, and they went
Mm,
about it by figuring out whatever the core for these characters are and doing the best way to translate on screen. And with
yeah.
Wanda, it is not only like sadness, but also like guilt for the things of guilt of her powers. And the best way to show that would be traveling through her mindscape or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that. With them, the core of these characters are probably their families and how they want to rise above their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
The both,
Agreed. And that's what we see them doing. It's like
yeah,
we're gonna see them fall into the dilemmas and the pitfalls of what their circumstances actually kind of caused them to do. Especially like with Bucky, he's dealing that with the PTSD. The older Asian man who he was befriending, who spoke about his son being dead. You come to find out, like Bucky's the one who killed him.
that was wild. I that actually didn't strike cross my mind literally until like the second before the reveal.
Yeah, I was just like, oh damn. I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking that. I
Yeah.
was like, and again, it's just like you said. Now you have to rise above the circumstances. Like I'm around this man who I've like really come to respect or care about or whatever, and it's like I hear him grieving about his son that I killed. Like it's another situation that I have to deal with because of who I am and what I'm doing, and like how I'm still kind of gonna have to do it in some form or fashion. This is great.
And like
This is why I love the street
didn't
hero.
do anything. It was wild. Yeah. These street characters, they can give sometimes. The action can give. I will give it that for sure.
The action was really good in this. Like I'm
Yeah.
super excited. Like and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little like apprehensive because I wasn't sure how they were gonna do a lot of his aerial combat.
Baby. They got that. They got it.
I should know better by now. I should
Yeah.
know better by now.
Yeah.
Like
The
they
aerial
did that.
combat is great.
Did
Um,
that.
I'm excited to see when they finally team up. I wonder how long do you think that's going to be before they finally start crossing paths?
Honestly, I feel like next episode.
Next episode?
Like if any, like at least they'll meet up by the end of the episode.
Okay.
Like it's only 6 episodes. Like we
That's
can't
true.
we can't dilly dally.
I wonder how long do you think before he gets his suit and the shield?
The end of the last episode.
You think so? That's your prediction?
That's my
Okay.
prediction.
And that is
Or
because he's getting his own Captain America movie.
yes. Or
I
it'll just
agree.
lead like to him being in one of the Avengers movies as Captain America.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I think
although I would say I would love for him to get it by like maybe the end or the end of the fifth or the middle of the last episode because I would like to see him have his final fight in the Captain America costume.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to see him in it and like using it and fighting and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like he does everything and then like at the end it's like we see him in the suit and then it cuts off.
Yeah. That'd be annoying.
Like okay.
I mean, that's kind of, is that what happened with WandaVision? Did she basically like turn into her suit and then that was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that they give it a little bit more. I've seen some stills and some leaks of the suit and it looks really cool and very comic accurate, and I love the way that they've been like translating a lot of this into the MCU. I did think Wanda's Scarlet Witch costume is a little dark. I wish it was a little bit lighter. But like a lot of this stuff has been
I'm
very,
ready.
very great, very great.
I'm ready to see how this goes, how we end up, and then where we go after this. Because Sam and Bucky haven't really been like we know Wanda's going to show up in Doctor Strange. They haven't really said anything about where Sam or Bucky will be post Falcon and Winter Soldier, have they?
No, they've kept that completely under wraps, actually.
Hmm?
I wonder, do you think Bucky's gonna die in this?
Oh,
I ain't
that
even
would be
thinking
nice.
about that'd be a nice.
I mean, no, it'd just be unexpected.
It'd spice some things up.
It
Yeah.
would be unexpected. I don't know. I wish I don't really pay too much attention to the MCU actors and like their contracts. I know some people can tell you that, Robert Downey Jr. is on for 15 movies or whatever. I don't know like what Sebastian Stan is on or what Anthony Mackie is on, but I would assume I could see Bucky dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie.
Done with Bucky right now, because where do you could take him?
I was about to say his story right now is kind of all about like redemption and atoning for past mistakes and like being someone different. And so it's like you either got to take him in two routes. You give him that, or you don't. And it's like,
Exactly.
And so it's just I think if you give it to him, okay, cool. If you don't, you're either gonna kind of run into the problem of giving him the same problems over and over again, or you just kill him off.
Yeah,
and he'd be like the first big death since
Widow.
Oh, I guess. Oh, I forgot Tony and Widow died. Never mind.
I was gonna say they've had some pretty big ones so far. They just, I guess they're gonna stick, as opposed to like the comics where everybody comes back. But
I mean, we got a couple of deaths that stuck so far. I mean, those two and Quicksilver.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. They can. I wish Quicksilver was around. I liked him.
I'm shocked they didn't bring him back. I really thought they were going to.
I did too. I thought they were going to bring him back just because he's a lot of fun, and why not?
It was one movie. That's single unfair. I personally would be upset.
I know. I feel away.
I would just be like, oh, everybody gets these multi-contract deals, and I'm literally here for one movie. You couldn't even bring me back for the show. You like purposely got a fake version.
I would feel some type of way. Yeah.
Totally.
Especially watching Wanda take off and now she going into her own sequel and stuff. Like, yeah, I'd feel away.
Over.
Yeah.
Mess.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Like I said, I loved Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm excited for this.
Ready.
If there's one thing I've learned about these street level characters is that the action scenes give.
And you need.
I'm here for that. All right, y'all. You can find us. Don't forget to rate and subscribe us on anything that you listen to us on your podcast. Also, we are on YouTube, so definitely check us out and rate and subscribe us over there. Like the videos and all that good stuff. Leave comments. Find us on Twitter at Another Relaunch. You can also email us any questions or concerns, any other relaunches you may want us to read out on loud on here at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance. There's an underscore at the end.
Yes, I know that's right. All right. Peace out.